Recording.
Now recording. Up.
Yeah.
Get a good little frame there for you.
Yeah. I'm not turning any lights on. I don't.
That's
Yeah,
okay,
you're,
that's
just open up a browser window and put it to white, and you should be good.
Exactly.
Just open up Google.
Yep. Welcome back to Casual Outlaws. Today we're discussing The Sandman by Neil Gaiman and some other people. Chris, take it away.
Oh, fuck, I forgot how I wanted to do the start. What's that Sandman song? Bum,
Enter
bum,
Sandman?
bum,
Oh yeah.
bum, 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 bum.
Dun, dun,
Dun,
dun,
dun,
dun.
dun, dun, da, 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 da. Is that
Mr.
Hello Sandman?
It's Mr. Sandman.
Mr. Sandman.
I thought you were going to do the
Yes.
Metallica Sandman song.
Why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense. I'm not that metal.
Apparently
That's true, you
Burger
aren't
is.
metal at all.
Apparently Burger is, though.
All right, so Sandman is originally a graphic novel by Neil Gaiman. And this was an audio rendition of it, of the first 3 volumes. Pretty much the premise is Sandman is a god within this mythology.
He's
of
not
the
a god.
endless. Oh,
He's an entity.
he's an entity.
endless.
Yeah,
He's an
he's an
endless.
endless.
Like a
Yeah, he's an
endless.
immortal that
He's a
his
mythos.
realm is the world of dreams, essentially. So he manages dreams. He's essentially a manager. And he supervises dreams that occur around the world,
Gotta
across
deal with-
all beings.
Across the universe, not even necessarily Earth.
It's true. This just primarily takes place on Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the first volume, he essentially gets captured. The people trying to capture him wanted to capture Death for immortality, but they captured him, stripped him of his 3 tools: his helmet, his necklace, and his bag of sand. And then he was captured for like 70 years. Those devices got scattered.
70 years.
Yeah,
70
it
years, yeah.
was a long time.
I heard
You,
7.
you
I
have
don't
to
know.
enunciate a little bit there, Chris.
I heard 7, yeah.
He
Sorry.
captured 70 year. For 70 year, he
I think I'll use my
stay in a
credit card.
big bubble cage. And he finally escapes, and then he goes on a quest to acquire his lost equipment and retake the realm of dreams.
Yeah,
And then there's a few other stories mixed in there.
yeah, and that's
afterwards.
what I could have done without.
The after stuff?
Yeah, it all felt like filler. I was like hoping like the entire thing would just be like him on his quest to regain his items and his power. But
Well, many
that
of the
happens
filler
very, very
stories
soon,
tied
and
into.
then all those stories are just like,
They're just so yeah. I would say like parts of it. I was because I only read the first graphic novel, which is the one that first story where he gets all his stuff,
Mhm.
and then he has the meeting with Death in the park.
You mean Kat Dennings?
Kat Dennings. I was really hoping there would be more like long form stories like that.
Yeah.
And there isn't, right? So like the first third of the book, audiobook is that, and then the second half there's one longer story, but there's a lot of short stories, and then pretty much the last third is a bunch of short stories.
Yeah.
Now, some of these stories harken back to a lot of the characters from the first volume.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Which I liked. I thought that was awesome.
Which is really cool, but I would agree, yeah. I would have liked more like a continuous storyline, but I actually enjoyed many of the short stories too.
I mostly enjoyed the short stories over that sort of main story.
I can, if you asked me about them, I would not be able to tell you. Like I've just completely blanked out on them.
What
And I
about in
found
the
it
world
very
where
hard.
the cat's a king?
The Cats were like, I was like, am I fucking
Yeah, that was-
watching that Cats musical?
I
Is
like
this
that
gonna be
one.
super jellicle?
But that's such a Neil Gaiman thing. So he has like this this whimsical type of storytelling, right?
Yeah.
But also like mixes in like really dark, gritty shit.
You mean all
Oh,
the
yeah,
all
dude,
the
I
sexual
love how, like-
violence and all the
Yeah.
raping and that
Yeah.
convention
Yeah.
of rapists and murderers?
There's a lot of rape in this audiobook. Like
There
a
was
lot.
A lot.
Like
of
it's
rape.
a
It was ridiculous almost.
it's just a-
So
just
like
a lot
he
of
has like
rape.
this weird of like adding whimsy on top of like just like really violent things.
Extreme violence and gore.
And it's like it's such a stark contrast, but at the same time for me he pulls it off. I'm like, I guess that's cool.
for
and that's just kind of his thing.
the one thing I completely forgot that this was based in the DC universe, despite there being the DC logo red on the cover. And then like every now and then you just feel like Etrigan the Demon gets mentioned, or the Justice League, or Arkham,
Asylum.
and I was like, what the fuck? What the? Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah,
I did appreciate that they pronounced Constantine's name correctly.
Okay.
I like John.
Yeah, John was probably my favorite DC inclusion in the book. The rest of this I could have probably done without.
I was really hoping they would have done more with Etrigan the Demon, though.
Yeah,
that's like a
or,
very non-used character in DC.
What are the magic characters? Like, I want to say Zavala, but that's like the guy from Destiny or something like that. What?
Santana.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I remember watching the Justice League as a kid, and like they did like the revamp of Justice League, and like they had all the magic characters, and their storyline seemed like the most interesting.
Wasn't that Justice League Dark?
No, I think it's Justice League Unlimited.
There's no Dark as a kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm talking about Justice League Unlimited, but
Yeah.
I liked the sort of like crucifix with the little circle top around it. I like those characters, like that kind of magic system. I thought we would get more involved with them, but we just kind of get
circle. I'm trying
like
to remember who that.
I think it's called an Ankh.
I'm just trying to remember the character that he has it like on a helmet, right?
Dr. Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Destiny, the Pharaoh-like dude, right?
Well, no, wasn't he Dr. Fate?
Or Dr.
Yes, that's
Fate,
what it was.
you're right.
Dr. Destiny was
Destiny's
the
a villain.
guy.
Yeah, I was
Dr.
like,
Fate.
that's our bad guy.
Yeah. I was hoping to get more of them. I was kind of turned off with like when Martian Manhunter showed up, but I was like, it's still.
I was so hoping there would be more of just like Martian Manhunter, because Martian Manhunter stuff can get really freaky weaky.
Yeah. But like I still thought it was cool because like, oh, okay, so it would make sense that his people would have a version of the Dream God. So it was like a cool inclusion. But I was like, I thought when they said that the Jewel was going to be like in lockup with the Justice League, I thought there was going to be like some super annoying Superman cameo, and I was getting really turned off.
Yeah, I think what they do is they have enough. They introduce like a lot of like some of the DC properties, but not in like a huge amount. They're like, it's really short and it's small and contained.
Well, like that one of those last stories had Elemental Girl and her suicide. I was like, oh shit, that actually is a major character. Well, was a major character, and they just fucking killed her right there.
Yeah, but I don't know. It was a cool story. What I didn't like, I found this audiobook to be very disorienting, because every half hour Harry Potter music starts playing and it's like the Sandman, and it's just really loud in your ear.
I had to turn my volume down.
I'll give you some context to that. So Neil Gaiman has done a bunch of like audio renditions of his books. They were all made for the BBC to put on radio.
Yeah, and so that's what this was. It was a radio show.
Yeah,
and so
I did like that the book actually came accompanied with a PDF that actually gave you the casting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, can we just stop and like appreciate the casting and like the voice actors,
the production?
Just the production for this? Because holy shit.
I didn't really enjoy this as a book. What would have really saved this for me is if there was like a YouTube video where you could watch pages from the graphic novel, and they do like kind of bad animation where they just like have characters like shaking the screen and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and you just can like watch it with the visuals of the original graphic novel itself.
Yeah,
that would have really saved this for me.
You kids and your old moving pictures.
Yeah, as
moving pictures. Moving pictures.
The whole concept of a graphic novel being turned into an audiobook is definitely just like, I think there was something missing there.
Well, that's
I fully enjoyed it 100%. I have no qualms with it.
Hey Nate, move the mic a little closer to your face.
Yeah, you're a little low. Not that close.
I really struggled because this was it isn't a book.
With the mindset,
it's not a
if you go in, if you go with the mindset, it's supposed to be an audio book, and then you listen to it, you're like, oh, this is a radio show.
Yeah,
it can be like you have to like switch gears in your head, and if you're not ready to do that, then it could just sour the rest of the experience.
It was very unpleasant to listen to with my headphones. The parts I enjoyed it were the parts where I was driving, and so the actual performance of it had a little bit more room to breathe, versus the Harry Potter music just stuck up against the side of my head and just Da, da, da,
That's
da,
fair.
I
da.
thought that's
Yeah.
what you spent your like $600 on for your headphones.
Yeah, well, the but I don't know. It's just it's different. It's still different, even if you have the
Nate, are you
headphones that
talking?
create
Because I
space.
think
Yeah,
you're
because
muted.
you're muted again.
He disconnected his wire.
Because I saw him just like nothing.
Yeah.
um, is it what particular short stories did any of you guys enjoy?
Plaid.
I really liked the
the only
guy
one-
who.
Well,
Oh, sorry,
let's
go
pick
ahead.
one person and go round robin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Burger,
everyone's
you can
talking,
go
right?
first, Burger.
If are we doing a favorite, or are we just like naming ones we liked?
Let's do your favorite short story, and then you can do an honorable mention.
I think my favorite of the short stories was the guy who didn't die,
Yeah.
and him like just sort of talking shit about death, and then he gets to be immortal for forever, and then he meets at the pub with the dream god, the dream lord
Morpheus.
Morpheus every 100 years.
Yeah.
I thought that was actually a very well thought out short story. Although I think it's kind of easy to escape death if all you have to do is talk some shit about
Death?
what's her face from Bob's Burgers.
Yeah. Was that him?
That's
Really?
Louise from Bob's Burgers? The little
voice
girl,
actor?
the one that wears like the purple hat?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely her. Or at least the voice sounds like one to one to
I didn't know
me.
that. I haven't really looked at the detail.
I
That's
didn't
funny.
really
Continue.
pay attention to that.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems really easy to talk to you about death, and you get to live for at least what was it, 500 years?
Yeah.
I mean,
Millennium's a good run.
yeah, I'd be more than happy to do that. I kind of like, and then I guess as an honorable mention, I kind of like the Africa origin of like humans city story. Although it gave me a lot of Wakanda vibes for a little bit, but you know,
That was a good one.
What-
I
Another
did
one
enjoy
that tied into the characters in the beginning, though, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
it
when
wasn't
he
that
Well,
like
yeah.
the
chick that
chick
was
he
in
passed
prison.
in hell.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
the
one.
woman he loved or whatever.
I think so. I think like if there was like a major theme of this audiobook series is that the Dream God used to be a pretty big dick, and then it took him being imprisoned for 70 years for him to kind of gain some empathy and chill out a little bit because he's imprisoned that one girl for a super long time, but he still didn't let her go. That's the thing that we're like. I think some of the theming seems inconsistent.
Well, your nature. You can't change your nature either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, that was kind of the idea behind the guy that lived forever, right? Like, at the end of the day, he's lived 500 years, but he's still deep down, like, there's certain parts of him that, like, he'll still always think that he'll want to live it forever, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Andy, how about
Andy,
you?
go ahead.
The one that I can really remember like all the details on is just the one with the elemental girl.
Yeah, that one was spooky. I don't know.
And she has to like basically talk to the sun because that's the sun god in order for her to die because he's the one who made her the metamorph. That one was pretty cool.
I did enjoy that. That was second to the last one, I think.
Yeah, that was second to the last one.
Was the last one the cat one?
The last one was the
was
Midsummer
Midsummer.
Night's Dream.
Oh yeah,
I actually enjoyed that one.
With Shakespeare.
Too.
Yeah,
That
that
one
one was
pretty good.
enjoyable. So that's my honorable mention. The cat one was just terrible.
I love the count. It's so bizarre.
Dude, I loved it.
So weird.
Bad. It was so cool. It was just so cool. Like, I think they put that in there to show that, like, Mr. Sandman guy, like, he takes care of everyone in the universe. Like, not just people or, like, I don't know. Everything that can dream is like part of his world, you know?
Yeah.
I guess. I think it's just more of like a fanciful story about pets.
Yeah.
Still fun though. You know?
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
It was
it was
fun.
just a fun, cheeky, like it's like that whimsical thing, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And it ends and they're like,
we'll go down this
It
cat
just felt
line.
out of place.
Yeah.
It just
like
like the beginning feels very dark though because they like kill the kitten and stuff, and you're like, oh,
It's put
Yeah.
them in a bag, get some rocks, and just
you're
sink it in the
"Jesus,
river.
Where are we going with this?
Nate, your favorite?
I think it was the cat
Actually,
one.
No, I actually really liked the Shakespeare one and the pub one. I
Yeah.
think those two were my favorite. Cat one I just thought was fun. It's different.
Yeah, definitely different. Mine was the pub one. That one. That
It's
was
done
just
really
so.
well.
It was just really fun, and like to see how society changed over years, but not really changed at the same time, and then like the way he deals with emotions, right? Because his family gets killed, and he grieves for like 40 years or some shit, 50
Yeah.
years.
The whole party's like, oh, that whole slave trade thing. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, you shouldn't do that, and then he still does it, and then the next time they see, he's like, yeah, that was a good idea. I shouldn't have done that.
It's almost like he was like testing society in all aspects through the course
Yeah,
of all
I
these
mean,
millennia.
what else would you do if you couldn't die?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was just a great story, and the way it ended, he's like, oh, I was surprised you showed up. He's like, well, what kind of friend would I be, essentially?
Yeah.
After they had the big
which was
argument about
good
being
because
Yeah.
it touches on that like whole when he escapes capture, he starts becoming a better person. And this short story alone, you kind of see his whole viewpoint change and like that. I
Yeah.
can be friends. I can be semi good.
I don't think it's a matter of goodness, but yeah.
Decent person.
Yeah, so for the most part, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It was like, again, like you were saying, like the third is an actual like long form story,
I thought it was going to
And
keep
you're
going, and
you're
it
expecting
didn't.
it to keep going, and it doesn't. So that's very jarring. I definitely agree with that. It's very jarring.
Just wondering, like, how did that even translate into like just actual graphic
Well,
novels? Like they're just going
if you
over
just
a
release
story,
like
and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're just done with this.
what do you mean? They change stories all the time in
Yeah, graphic novels, it's
comic
actually
books
really
and graphic
easy.
novels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
but
just
the
like,
thing
oh, this is
is,
a different
they
arc.
change and they go through certain arcs. This one didn't really go through. It went through one arc, and then it's just like every other issue is like, yeah, no, we're
Not true.
just doing something different. Is what it felt like.
One comic book issue could be a short story, right?
Yeah.
So it's not hard to compile a lot of short stories.
Plus, if you just treat this as an anthology series between like
Mhm.
world famous writer Neil Gaiman and some popular artist at the time, I forgot the artist's name. Apologies to the artist. Um, like you just sell it that way. You're just like, yeah, this is going to be a series of short stories. You'll see Martian Manhunter in one of them, and then we're going to go to a bunch of different places and mention a bunch of different other things. And it's going to be its own thing. You hook people in with a lot of the like DC characters that people really like.
Mhm.
You give them a bunch of stuff that they want to like, and then you just fucking freeform it. Just
Yeah.
let your creativity
Take the reins.
flop
I think
out in the
that's
sun.
I think that's part of that book is there's a lot of like creativity going on, so it's like a lot of weirdness. Like Cain and Abel are one of my favorite characters.
Dude, I
They're
was
so ridiculous.
It's like, yeah,
They
we're just
almost
gonna
made
kill
me-
Abel all the time over here.
And it's just like from a mythology standpoint, you're like, yeah, what happened to Cain and Abel? Oh, they're stuck in the dream world. How do they treat each other? Still like shit. All right.
Exactly the same.
I mean, well, I think I like some stories. I definitely didn't like this as a medium for these stories.
Fair.
I think as an audiobook, I would not recommend it necessarily to anyone. Like unless you're like a big fan of the graphic novel. Um, I would say like have the graphic novel with you so you can look at some of the artwork that's going on with it at the same time if you want to listen to like some decent vocal work performances by everybody that was involved. I could have used with a lot less audio mixing. I f- but at the same time, there's so little uh exposition that's done. Like
Mhm.
it's just like, oh, we're now in this building in 1963. Here's a bunch of stuff that's happening. And scene. And then it's just like, okay, scene's over. Now we're moving over here, and it's just you
Jumps
don't give it
around too
enough
much.
time. It jumps around a little bit too much, where like where like a lot of times a lot of these stories don't feel lived in. It just things are being told to you, and I think that's where like having the pictures, like having artwork that goes with it would fill in sort of the blankness of the narration. Because like when you compare and contrast it with like um the Wheel of Time, where it spends all of this time explaining to you like the way that the world actually looks. Like you're supposed to be able to paint a picture sometimes about the scenery that's going on in some of the scenes based upon what's being said. Um, that can be a lot of extreme, like that Tolkien-esque level of prose versus this book, which has almost bare nothing. I would like a little bit more if it was going to be an audiobook. Whereas this is just like a radio show. I don't know how I would like try and force myself to enjoy this as a radio show. I don't drive enough anymore for this to be like a
No
performance
one
for me to
drives enough
enjoy.
anymore.
Yeah, I don't.
That was what my wife, she asked me, was like, how are they translating the graphic novel since the graphic is what's like gives you the detail of the world, right?
Yeah, like so like I can see the graphic novel page where it's just like
Yeah.
London 19 or
Mhm.
1911 and like there's like this white banner that's written up across the top
Mm-hmm.
and there's some like chains clinking and so like I know it's like an empty room. And so there's some of that that's there, but it just feels too bare. I needed a little bit more to enjoy this. I think.
That's fair. Yeah, I think I mean it's a radio show, so it's made for a more broader
Audience.
stroke of people too.
Yeah, but there isn't like I tried thinking about it and like the only real radio shows that I'm familiar with are like War of the Worlds
Mhm.
and A Prairie Home Companion with like Garrison Keeler that was on NPR for the longest period of time. And I think the way that Prairie Home Companion sort of gets around it is it's all jokes, so there you don't have to set up the world itself. You don't have to fill the world in. You just have to do some like audio gags, some good jokes, and like play on words for the audio show. But I feel like this suffers a little bit because it's kind of trying to be like a straight narrative, but we don't get a lot of the narrative pieces involved.
Yep.
So, is it fair to say that you would not recommend it?
Not unless you're a big fan of the graphic novel and want to experience
Or
it
if you've
again,
read the
I think.
graphic novel?
Yeah, if
Just
you've
you
read the
don't you don't
graphic
even have to
novel.
be a fan of it. Just so long as you've read it, so you kind of just have an idea of what you're getting
Context.
into.
Yeah.
Or actually, speaking of context, what about people who aren't familiar with the DC universe? Because
I think it's,
they have a number of
I don't think it
references to it.
I don't
I
think it
don't think it really
matters.
ties
I don't think it
in
matters.
that
Like the thing
closely.
like the only thing that you would really have to know about the DC universe, I guess, is who what's the name of the doctor from Scarecrow? You'd have to know who Scarecrow is. Martian Manhunter is literally in the name that he's a Martian.
Yeah,
So that doesn't do anything.
and he's like
Uh
barely in it. Like I think Crane
yeah.
has more time than Martian Manhunter.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess you would be kind of lost on the name Constantine as like a family name.
Constantine.
But
Whatever.
suck a dick. I think that would be like the
Constantine.
yeah, that would be the only part I think that would be lost is the John Constantine bit of it. I think that's the only thing you really lose.
Even then, I don't think that big deal because I think most people, like if you weren't a actual comic book fan, like actually read comic books, you're probably not that familiar with
Yeah,
Constantine, anyways.
unless you watch
Right.
that Keanu Reeves movie, which
Unless
is
you watch the
great
Keanu Reeves movie,
and
which
needs
is
a
outstanding.
sequel.
Yeah. So like, if you were just a fan of the movies and the TV shows, I guess now the modern TV shows actually have him in it, but for the most part, you wouldn't even know who he is, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't matter.
He wasn't really a DC property until
All of these were on Vertigo, even including
Yeah.
Sandman.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Vertigo, a lot of the dark characters, the Justice League dark characters, were all on Vertigo before they moved over to
yeah, but
a
Vertigo was
proper
always a
DC.
DC owned
The DC
publication.
owned property is where
Yeah.
they moved a lot of their like darker stuff and their mystical stuff, a lot of their magic stuff's on Vertigo.
Which is why we have that over there.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
didn't they restructure like a few years ago and they brought it all into
It was a
just
while
one
ago, but
universe?
yeah, I think it was like in the 90s or something they did that.
Okay.
I could have done with a lot less rape.
Dude,
Generally, it doesn't
it was
bother
pretty
me.
heavy-handed.
Generally, it doesn't bother me in stories, but there's so much of it, and because they're like short stories, it's like, man, we're leaning really heavily on this like rape thing as a story tool. I don't think it's necessary because you have death incarnate, dream incarnate, desire incarnate. Like I don't
Had a
think
serial killer convention, okay?
It was like a Sado rapist convention because like, it seemed like a lot of them would rape their victims and then murder them.
Yeah, that's part of their serial killing.
Well,
what made it so over the top was the fucking voice acting, though. Like the sound effects, you're just sitting there, just like cringing
very
when
visceral.
you're listening
like,
to this dude like eat eyeballs and stuff, and you're just like,
yeah. There's a lot of.
I definitely wouldn't say this is not a family-friendly show.
Yeah,
that's why I'm wondering, like, what radio station would play this?
The BBC. At night, you can do anything on British television.
Yeah.
And radio.
It's not as
they have a
Puritan
show
as America.
They have a show called Naked Attraction, where like you have your guy or your girl who is the bachelor, bachelorette type person, and then they have like 6 people behind shrouded cover who are naked. And
it sounds like gang rape.
No. It's a dating show, and what they do is like they raise it up like to like above your ankles, and you have to like eliminate a person on like how attracted you are to their feet so far, and then they raise it up a little bit more, and then a little bit more, kind of thing. And
so
like,
pretty much the real calls are made when it gets to the dick.
Dick or vagina, because it can be either way. But like, yeah, so like everybody's naked in the show, and then you have to like pick a person to go on a date with at the end of it, and that's like the whole show, and it's on British television at night. I think
so you'll never know if it's a butterface until you've made the selection.
Yeah, because it goes from the bottom to the top. So your goal is to like it's your naked attraction, I guess. I don't know if they asked them questions. I haven't actually seen an episode of it. I just watched a British person do an explanation of this TV show not that long ago.
So weird.
It is a very weird show. British television is weird.
Yeah. Cool. I think that's it, right? Oh, I guess. So Burger says he wouldn't recommend it. What about you guys?
I would not.
No.
No.
Yeah, you didn't enjoy it other than the first third.
Yeah, like just the first volume.
Yeah.
The first 2/3 of the story were the best parts. I could have done without the Dr. D stuff, because there was a lot of rape in that one again. And the power level thing is so uneven. It's hard to gauge.
Well, I mean, that's comic books.
Yeah, they do that shit all the time. It's weird.
Yeah,
Superman, like Superman's a perfect example of how power levels alter very quickly.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying it didn't make a whole lot of sense because he like literally had all of his life force sucked out of him that he passed out, and then he steps into the shadow realm, and then just eats the guy right away. Like it was very abrupt and unpleasant. Sorry, go ahead, Nate.
That's fair.
I'd recommend it, and I have been recommending it because it's cool, it's different. In my opinion, it was unlike any audiobook I have listened to.
Well, it's not an audiobook, so
yeah,
production.
I think it's an audiographic novel.
Oh, I'm so fucking sorry.
It's a radio play.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was interesting. It was different. I thought the production was really cool. Parts of it, were kind of overwhelming. I would definitely say if you start listening to this audiobook, turn your volume down.
Yeah, every half hour you'll get blasted by Harry Potter music, and it will tell you
it's kind of overwhelming.
I don't listen to it with headphones on, so I actually didn't notice anything with the music that bad.
But it was fun. I enjoy. I actually enjoyed the structure too. Like the beginning is he's captured and then he's going on this quest, and then like towards the end of the book, it's just finally he's back doing his job in all of these different aspects of short storytell.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it.
I would recommend it, but I would definitely lead with like it's not an audiobook, it's a radio show. I actually enjoyed the radio show format because it would be like the thing, like the next episode would play, and I was like, oh, okay, I can pause here, and I'm going to go in.
Yes,
exactly. It's a good stopping point.
I was wondering why the chapters were labeled as episodes, and I was like,
yeah,
this makes more sense now that I know it was a radio play.
So I actually enjoyed that part for me because it was like, all right, this is a good time for me to stop. I can go do something else. That way I'm not stopping in like in the middle of a story or anything. And then I enjoyed it for that part. So I think I would recommend and let people know, like, this is a radio show. It's not an audio book. Its production values are very good. And it's very R-rated.
Oh, that was
Very
one thing
R-rated.
that kind of annoyed me. Because it's like an audio play and they're doing a lot of sound work, like a lot of Foley work and stuff. I like couldn't put it at 1.25 or
No.
1.5 speeds.
Oh, I was sitting
It
at
would just
1.5.
I don't
You're
know
an
how you did that.
absolute
You're a
monster.
crazy person.
You
That,
are a
like,
bad person.
that would just ruin the experience because of the production of it.
Yeah.
You're like worse than every single one of those people at that convention.
Wow.
Because of all the gore and everything, like Casey is a huge like horror and gore fan. Like she loves that
Oh,
stuff.
I guess I should
And
qualify
I
that.
bet-
I'm not a big horror fan.
Yeah, I think like she's
Yeah.
gonna love it. She started listening to it and she's like, I kind of like it so far. But I think once it starts getting into the darker things, I think she'll enjoy it more. People with her same taste.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I thought it was all around kind of fun.
Believe it's your turn to pick a book now, Nate, right?
I have not picked a book.
Okay.
He's in
well,
rotation.
yeah, it is your turn in the rotation. But before you start trying to figure out what you want to recommend, what you want to pick, since you were absent last time, quick and dirty, your opinion of Heir to the Empire.
I didn't even read it. I had no time, dude.
Oh, you completely skipped it.
I had no time. I was in Flagstaff, in tunnels, fucked. Yeah, I couldn't even read it.
That's that.
That's that.
Do you want
That's not
to
even
select the book?
That's not even a.
Yeah,
did
I'll
not
just slide.
finish.
I'll take next time so I can have an idea.
Okay.
I had no idea it was going to be my turn.
Okay. Well, we know what my
Hot seat.
choice is.
Hot seat.
Yeah, no, we know what my choice is going to be.
Hitchhiker's
don't
Guide
know
to
how-
the Galaxy.
No. It's going to be the first book in the Stormlight Archive series. We'll probably have to break it up into 2 parts because it's a 40-hour book.
Jesus, fuck you so
What's it
hard
called?
right now.
There.
but we're not
Why
gonna
don't
be
we
able to
just read
catch up
book? Why don't we
for
just
the
read
next- for
book
the-
2 in Blood Rising so we can have like one?
Oh no,
episode
actually,
as,
you know
like,
what?
a
If you want to do that, if
continuance.
you want to do book 2 of Blood Rising, it is technically your choice, Nate.
It's Red Rising, by the way.
Red Rising.
Oh my god.
No. I skipped last week, so just defer my turn. It's fine.
I have no
God damn it,
like,
Nate.
but Stormlight Archive, we're not going to be able to finish the series by the time the new book comes out.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We're gonna do like 1 and 4 because you guys didn't want to dedicate yourselves to this. I have to talk about this book. This book to me
You can
is
talk
more
about it to
important-
yourself, sir.
It is more important to me than Dresden. And so
I'm just saying,
gonna-
like, I just don't like. If that's the book you want, that's fine. I'll do it. It's a series I've been wanting to do. I just, when it comes to like a timing thing, I just don't see how it's going to time out well for us, for you.
yeah,
Like that's a series we
hopefully-
should have started like months ago.
Yeah, hopefully we like the book and we can just keep going back to back to back to back to back to back.
Not
What
gonna
is that
happen.
song? Well, yeah, because you hate
Or-
everything and you are unhelpful in most things.
He didn't hate everything. He loved Heir to the Empire.
Yeah, he really did.
What's the name of this
He
book?
loved the book that he chose.
Yeah.
The Way of Kings, by Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah, I'm actually, like I said, this is a series I'm actually interested in.
Yeah,
But it is a time commitment. I
Did we
really
read
wish
something
his
else
books
by
weren't so
Brandon
long.
Sanderson?
what?
Did we read something else by Brandon Sanderson?
No,
No.
No, we haven't.
Why does
You're
that
thinking
name
you're
sound
thinking
so
of that
familiar?
book you picked that was really bad?
Which book did I pick? Was really bad.
Blade itself.
Yes.
The Blade itself. That's by Joe
was a great-
Abercrombie.
That was a great book.
It was a great book. I'm glad we're
Um,
in it. So, okay,
Maybe if you
so
didn't listen to everything on like 1.5 speed and rush
Yeah,
through
you're a
everything.
fucking crazy person listening to this audiobook in 1.5.
Their
With
ratings
all
are
the
too
audio
slow for me.
production and stuff like that.
Yeah,
is-
this one, like when they were doing like the sound effects, I was like, okay, I have no idea what the hell that was supposed to be.
Yeah,
But like
Like,
all the
like-
dialogue was all clear.
even internalize this story at all at doing 1.5, like,
there's
the
a reason
whole
why he
time.
doesn't remember any of the short stories.
yeah, that's fair.
The short stories to me were just like,
There's a reason why you don't remember it because you didn't listen to it.
Yeah.
50% speed.
I was able to listen to
didn't-
the main story.
I was able to do the last like 3.5 hours at 1.25, and even then, some of the audio was getting distorted. Like trying to listen to Puck at like a slightly sped up rate, um, kind of annoyed me. Uh, that is one thing I could add. I wish they would have gotten the voice actor who does Puck in Dota to do the voice acting for this one, because I have a very deliberate voice in my head of what Puck is, and so it was clashing. Um, I know, I'm a very big nerd.
Very big nerd.
Ooh,
Yeah,
45 hours. Wow. That is a big
yeah.
book.
There's two deliberate parts in this book. Um, anyway, so The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, the first book in the Stormlight Archives, um, is this is the book that I struggle with trying to reread. Like I can't. I've had a trouble issue with going back to it, um, just because this first book is a lot of exposition. It's setting up an entire magic system, mythology. It is long form high fantasy, and the first book is kind of the the first half of the book is kind of depressing, because we start with it has multiple different characters, so it's kind of like Game of Thrones, where it goes around telling different parts of the same story through different characters. Sort of our two main protagonists are going to be, or there's three. There's Kaladin Stormbless. He is a he's a bridgeman in this first book here, which is basically people who are responsible for carrying bridges on sort of like a plateau system that has a whole bunch of large gaps in between it for these armies to get around. He's basically a slave. Um, he literally is a slave. There's Dalinar, who is a noble in this world. He is the brother of a king who was murdered, and he's um, essentially leading a war against the people that are responsible for his brother's murder, which are like a different fantasy race. Um, and then there's Shalai, and she's a girl she's a noble girl who's trying to like come out into the world. She's involved in some shady business due to the farm that her and her brothers had like on their property. They're like minor nobles.
With the rest of the series, because the Rhythm of War comes out in November.
Yeah, it's fine. I can
So,
probably push back.
we're gonna do book 2 of Red Rising, right? That's what I understood from this.
We also have Dresden at the end of September.
Yeah, so we're gonna do this, and then probably Dresden.
Part 2 of Peace Talks.
Part 2 of Peace Talks. The other half of the book that we started that for some reason we can't finish. I don't know why.
He doesn't write
So,
50-hour books, okay?
Listen,
does
Sanderson,
this Michael Kramer read like all the male characters, and then this Kate Reading or Reading, I'm not sure how her
correct?
name,
Yeah,
does all the females?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's also a lot of other people. So this is by Brandon Sanderson. He's famous for finishing the book series that I mentioned earlier, The Wheel of Time. After the original author unfortunately passed away. He's This guy is a fucking machine when it comes to putting out books. This guy writes like 300,000 words a year. Quality like doesn't drop. He is right now the goat in the fantasy literature domain, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Fight me. He has a lot of quirks in his writing, like some kind of like weird racial stuff, not like black people necessarily. Like he likes to come up with gimmicks for what separates classes in his societies, because he's like literally trying to build a world. Um, this series kind of focuses on the difference between light eyes and dark eyes. So people with like lighter eye colors are nobles. People with darker eye colors are, yeah, sure, whatever, Chris. Are like a lower
So it's
tier
pretty much
of,
the German and the Jews, the light eyes and the dark eyes.
yeah. And so Kaladin is a dark eyes. Dalinar is a light eyes. So is Shalai. there's a lot of weird things, a lot of sex-based characteristics. It's just very interesting. It feels like a very lived-in world.
Yeah,
his
imagine he
isn't.
writes 50-hour book. It better be. Like,
Um,
there's over like 200 hours in just these 4 books.
yeah, it's great. It's possibly my.
Like, there better be some world building.
This is my favorite series right
I
now.
think Dresden's whole series is 200 hours.
Yeah. My favorite was a meme that was like, "You just can't write 300,000 words a year and not have quality suffer, Sanderson." And Sanderson, it's just like the meme is like, book printing machine goes burr." Uh, Guy is an absolute workhorse. I don't know what to tell you. I absolutely respect this guy.
Okay, so
Andy
we're
looks
doing Red
intrigued.
Rising 2, and Burger wants to suck this guy's dick.
Dude, the whole time Andy's just like,
I just
so Red Rising.
yeah. I really don't want to.
It's up to you, Nate. It is technically your pick.
No, I deferred it. And Andy, as much as you hate me for saying that,
Okay.
kind of excited to read this.
Yeah, this first book is like the first 75%, I think, can be kind of rough because it's like about like the what I call the main character, Kaladin, goes through a lot of like messed up shit.
There you go, 1.5 speed.
My only concern is that Nate's going to do the thing that we did in the last cycle where he basically gave Burger 2 picks.
Listen, I would have done.
That's his pick. That's his pick. I'm not concerned
Yeah.
about it. This is how the nature of our system works.
Sometimes
You chose
You're fired from the band.
If you would have started with an authoritarian system, you could have chose every time, but you didn't.
If you guys
what you
just
said.
didn't even have me in the role system to pick books, I wouldn't mind because I end up enjoying everything you guys pick. Like it hasn't been a book where I'm just like,
Except
Yes,
for
there has.
Magic
hey,
2.0.
this
Magic
fucking
2.0.
sucks.
2.0
Magic
was
2.0.
great.
Except the one that the only person bitching right now picked.
Thanks for clipping.
Well, when he's right, you gotta clip it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Like I said, it's a series I really want to get into. I'm just more concerned with like the timing to book 4. That's my biggest concern.
You said that
in there, but
it's 45 hours long. So what's our stopping point if we're splitting this off into
There's
2 episodes?
part 1 and part 2.
Okay.
If you guys finish part 1 in the book and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna hard stop here because this was a lot, that is perfectly fair. Although I'm gonna qualify it. This first half is gonna be just exposition for the most part. It is going to be establishing our characters, the world, what's going on, the magic system, sort of class hierarchies, men-women dynamics. That's what a lot of this first book is going to be.
It's going to be 1.7 reading speed. 1.7.
Okay. Does that even count?
I have no idea what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Then look at his eyes. No.
Oh, if I slowed it down,
like everything's just going to be a
name all the way. Okay, got it.
I think you listen to it like that. Everything's just going to be mumble.
Yeah.
Do you guys honestly have trouble with the dialogue when it's at 1.5?
I have trouble retaining the information because it goes so quick.
Or just getting intrigued because everything is going so fast before my brain has the sense to say, oh, I like this character. I don't like this character. It's on to the 5 characters down the road.
Yeah.
I think you also lose the nuance of the way the voice actors reading it and telling you and stuff like that.
Yeah, for me, it's a lot. It depended upon the voice actor. The reason I definitely 100% couldn't do it on this last book is because there's too much Foley work in the background where it's trying to set up like atmospheric attention.
Yeah.
And like because there's no exposition in Sandman, the Foley work is the exposition. And so you have to like, in order to like get any kind of space created in this book, you have to like go with the sound effects into it.
Wait, there's 4 parts to this book, not 2 parts.
Then we do.
Actually, no, wait. There's 5 parts.
I thought there was like what I remember looking. There's 1 half and 2 half. Maybe I was looking at the second book.
Buying my credit now. Oh, there's an accompanying reference guide.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a fully lived in kind of thing.
Why does the reference guide got to be like this, though?
It's like there's maps, there's freaking like
I don't know why it has to be written like this. Can't we just use normal text? Jesus. Cool. Yeah.
Actually, I guess the first 3 parts, I guess, is what I meant. I don't really remember there being 2 big parts, but I must have been looking at a separate book when I was originally planning this out. Yeah, the first 3 books.
So we're stopping at part 4.
The beginning of part 4, correct? Yeah.
What?
We're doing parts 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why Andy had to say it in the most backwards way.
Yeah, I was like stopping at part. Okay, we're doing parts 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. Yeah. This magic system is dependent upon Stormlight. Stormlight.
We don't care.
We can get into it on that. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
I know you're excited. He's
There's
so
also
excited.
I really love this series.
Okay, save it for the episode. Save it for that episode.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm not gonna lie. I am looking forward to it. So
I know Andy's gonna be negative, and I'm really hoping I can punch him through the face the next time that we talk.
I've been every time Andy gets on his high horse, I always call it the burger high horse.
How dare you stand where I'm supposed to stand, kind of thing. Like, it wouldn't bother me so much if Andy had like real arguments or like didn't listen to the book at 1.5 speeds.
I'm sorry that your narrators are slow.
I'm a slow person.
Well, no, I just mean for like this last book, 1.5 speed. It's like, did you even really participate in this discussion if you listen to it that fast?
Yeah, I don't know how you could do it. It just seems like you're saying.
The dialogue isn't an issue. The sound effects just sounded a little weird, but the dialogue, it doesn't sound distorted or anything. It's fairly clear.
Right. So I have no doubt that you can get every individual word, but there's a difference between saying like, Chris, how's it going? And like, hey, Chris, how's it going? And I think if you put that at 1.5 speeds, it becomes you can't tell the difference. You can't convey the emotion in something that is literally a play through audio. Like, it's different for an audiobook for me, where it's just like all the information is in the words themselves. Sorry, I don't have a better explanation for this. Versus the performance that is done in the audiobook or this radio play. It's like, yeah, no, I just fast forwarded the Michael Bay movie at 1.5 speeds, and I feel like
that's the proper way to watch a Michael Bay movie.
You probably got all the information from a Michael Bay movie, but then it's like, oh yeah, no, I watched Inception at 1.5 speed. It's like, I don't know, man. You might have missed some stuff that was going on.
Watched it, but I don't know if you watched it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like there's a little nuances and stuff like that, and inflection, all that kind of delivery that comes with the voice acting. Not to mention, just like you're saying, all the atmospheric audio that comes with it too. Helps sell you the
that's as much as part of the storytelling as anything else, I think.
Yeah.
Especially in this last book that we read. Or radio play, whatever.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, we're doing The Way of Kings. And then we'll do the first 3 parts. And then go through this fucking exposition hell. Usually that's first books of any kinds of these series. Like the first
book of the long form
series.
Kind
of it's just kind of a trudge.
I'm unhappy to do this, but at the same time, I need you guys to do Stormlight Archives at some point in the future, and I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off. I don't have a choice at this. I don't really have a choice at this point.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So,
see you, everyone.
Red Rising, book 2.
Oh my god! I would be so happy if you all of a sudden just like, you know what? I'm taking back my turn.
No.
All right. So we got 1 month to finish this whole book. Got it.
Yeah.
Boom.
All right. I'm ending it.